ADHD. ADHD is a medical neurobiological condition where the brain's neurotransmitter chemicals, noradrenaline and dopamine, do not work properly. It is a long-term condition that affects learning and behaviour. Without proper identification, treatment and management, it can have serious and long-lasting consequences. It is caused by a thinner prefrontal cortex in the brain. This may affect planning complex cognitive behaviour, personality expression, decision-making and moderating social behaviour. The function carried out by this part of the brain is called the executive function. The executive function relates to abilities to differentiate among conflicting thoughts, for example, to determine the difference between good and bad. It also affects the ability to evaluate future consequences of current activities, to work towards a defined goal, and to predict outcomes. The executive function also affects the individual's social control. Social control is the ability to suppress urges that, if not suppressed, could lead to socially unacceptable outcomes. Alarmingly, suicide rates are higher in ADHD-diagnosed people and their families. This statistic shows that ADHD has to be handled with care. In Ireland, 60,000 children were diagnosed with ADHD in 2010. However, the true figure could be even higher than this. According to HAD, an Irish family support group for those affected with ADHD, many people in Ireland with the condition may be going undiagnosed. In order to avoid this, it is vital to be able to recognise the characteristics of ADHD. Current research supports the idea of two distinct characteristics of ADHD: inattention and hyperactivity. Inattention is characterised by difficulty concentrating. Irrelevant thoughts, sights and sounds seem to get in the way of focusing and sustaining attention. As a result, the student often appears as if he or she is not listening. Performance varies depending on the nature of the activity the student is asked to complete. Students may give automatic and effortless attention to things and activities they enjoy, but attending to the details of planning, organising and completing a task on time is difficult. Other key characteristics of inattention are a student who fails to finish assigned tasks on time, cannot seem to listen, are easily distracted, daydream and require frequent redirection. Now let's look at the other key characteristic of ADHD, hyperactivity. With hyperactivity, individuals seem unable to sit still. They may bounce from one activity to the next, trying to do more than one thing at once. Other key characteristics of hyperactivity are restlessness, talking excessively, fidgeting, and unnecessary bodily movement. Now let's look at the causes and contributing factors of ADHD. Some of the factors which contribute to ADHD are genetics. Studies such as Frank et al. Have identified a strong hereditary link with ADHD-like symptoms. Fetal development is also a key factor. Premature babies have higher risk of ADHD-like symptoms, along with fetal exposure to drugs and alcohol. Birth factors can also have an impact on the risk of children having ADHD-like symptoms, such as prolonged or induced labour, and if the weight of the birth is below 5 pounds. Post-birth factors can also have an impact, such as cranial bleed, seizures, concussion, abnormalities of brain structure, and frontal lobe involvement. The increasing number of students diagnosed with ADHD in Ireland has intensified, leading to the need for educators to be knowledgeable about current concepts of the disorder and ways of managing the behaviours of students with ADHD in the classroom. Symptoms vary with each individual student, but, as already mentioned, symptoms will include elements of hyperactivity and/or inattentiveness. However, it's important to keep in mind that not every inattentive, high-energy or impulsive child has ADHD. Children are diagnosed with ADHD only if they demonstrate these symptoms so often that they are causing real difficulty in both school and at home for a persistent amount of time. Now let's look at ways that the teacher can manage ADHD in the classroom. Structure and routine have been found as essential when dealing with a student with ADHD. A structured environment can be defined as one that is organised, predictable and calm. This should include clear schedules, routines, rules and careful planning of seating and physical space. A calm, structured, positive learning environment that is uncluttered and well organised allows students with ADHD to be less distracted and anxious. Placing children with ADHD near the front of the room where they can more easily focus on the teacher has also been suggested, as well as placing students next to good peer role models and away from distracting windows. In their research, Taylor and Larson also identified the importance of breaking up assignments into manageable steps. By presenting material in short, clear and concise instructions, it enables the student with ADHD to remain focused, while also benefiting the rest of the class. Clarification of assignments is important to retain attention, along with giving students assistance during transitions from one classroom activity to another. Providing frequent contact between student and teacher is also important. Positive reinforcement, such as praising the student on a specific achievement or task, can greatly encourage an ADHD student who can often have low self-esteem. According to Littner and Ostagai, it's also vital to create an environment which is mutually supportive and which builds a sense of community and teamwork, yet is flexible enough to accommodate individual student needs. Good communication and feedback between parents and teachers is also vital in terms of gaining an insight of what works best for the individual child at hand. It is important for a teacher to make the schooling experience as pleasant as possible for the child with ADHD. It is also essential that students know that ADHD will only hold them back if they let it. There are many successful people who have been diagnosed with ADHD and have found ways to deal with it. Take, for example, celebrity athlete Michael Phelps. Phelps originally went to medication for the condition due to complaints from teachers about his inability to sit still in class. However, despite this, Phelps used swimming to help him find focus and went on to win 28 Olympic medals. Both teachers, parents and students need to work together to ensure each individual child with ADHD is getting the help that they need. By focusing their minds, these students can do whatever they set their minds to.